Today, I will be focusing on part 3 of the exam, and our topic is work. Remember, the speaking exam lasts roughly 15 minutes and is split into 3 parts: the interview section, the individual long-term section, and the two-way discussion section. Be sure to check out the other videos in this series for more help and information. You can find information on the exam itself, tips and useful phrases, as well as example questions with model answers. As I mentioned, in today's video, I will be focusing on part 3 of the exam, which is the two-way discussion section. This section of the exam lasts roughly 5 minutes. The questions in part 3 of the exam are connected with the general topic that was covered in part 2 of the exam. You'll be expected to talk about it in a more general and abstract way. I will be focusing on 2 marking criteria today. The first one we will be looking at is grammatical range and accuracy. So, this refers to the candidate's ability to use a range of structures and how well they use them. As well as the rules of language, this criteria considers the communicative functions of speech. Here you can see the marking criteria for a Band 7 answer. As you can see, you are still able to make some grammatical errors, but you should be able to use a range of complex structures with some flexibility, and frequently produce error-free sentences. Remember, when you're practicing at home, check your answers against the marking criteria and think about what you could do to improve your answer next time. I'll share a link to the IELTS website where you can find all of the marking criteria in the comment section. Keeping in mind the marking criteria we've just looked at, here's our first sample question for today. What makes a good job? So, what grammar structures do you think we can use in our answer? When I hear that question, some different grammar structures come to mind. For example, I thought of using adverbs of certainty, such as probably or certainly. And I also thought about using modals, for example, must and should. What did you think about using? Share your ideas in the comment section. Here's a model answer with those suggested grammar points highlighted. Remember, the question is, what makes a good job? And the suggested answer is, that's a great question. The answer will probably be different for each person, and it depends on what we mean by good. A well-paying job, or a job that you enjoy and are passionate about, or both. In my opinion, several overarching things make a good job for everyone. Personally, I believe in balance, so definitely a good job must provide you with enough money to live without worry. But you should also enjoy your job. I don't believe that a high-paying job you hate should be described as good. It certainly may be necessary for a period of time, but I don't believe it is good. So, in your opinion, what makes a good job? Let's take a look at another question and sample answer. Our question is, how do most people find jobs to apply for these days? So, considering the marking criteria, what different grammar points could we use in our answer? Here you can see my suggestions. As you can see, I suggested that we use the first conditional and modals. What did you think about using here? Remember to share your ideas in the comment section. Here's a model answer with the different grammar points highlighted. Remember, the question is, how do most people find jobs to apply for these days? And the sample answer is, how people search and apply for jobs has changed drastically in the past 20 years. Nowadays, if someone wants to find a job, they will search online. It is now rarer to walk around handing out CVs. People should fill out online application forms or send out CVs to companies. So, what do you think? What were your ideas for this question? So let's take a look at the second marking criteria for our lesson today. Remember, another skill that the examiner is assessing is how well the candidate pronounces the language. As well as the communicative effect of the candidate's pronunciation, there is an evaluation of how much strain it causes the listener and how noticeable their accent is, although the accent itself is not a problem. Candidates do need to be able to produce the phonological features of speech. Here you can see the marking criteria for pronunciation. As you can see, you can mispronounce some individual words or sounds that reduce the overall clarity at times. But you must be able to use a range of pronunciation features and be generally understood. So, how confident are you with your pronunciation? Recording your answers and listening to them can be helpful when working on your pronunciation. Let's take a look at the last example question for today. This time, we will pay special attention to pronunciation. So, our question is it possible to have a job for life anymore? So, our answer is, that's a very interesting question. I believe there has been a plethora of research over recent years into this idea. From what I have seen and read, the short answer would be no. I would say that a career for life is still possible, in my opinion anyway. Research that I have seen shows that someone who changes jobs is likely to make more money over their lifetime than someone who stays in the same job. This indicates that not only is it not really possible, but it is not advisable for individuals. So, we've got some tricky words in this answer. I recommend breaking those words down into syllables and practicing them until you feel more confident with them. As you can see, I have broken some of the more difficult words down into syllables. Let's start. First, we have a plethora. Then we have career. And finally, we have advisable. If any of those words are difficult, I suggest making a note of them and repeating them several times until you feel more confident in saying them and they feel more natural. Remember, you can always check your pronunciation by Googling the word if you're not sure. Now it's time for our tip of the day. So, today's tip is try to use linking words and phrases. So, I don't suggest that you memorize whole answers, as this will sound unnatural. But you can work with memorizing key words or phrases that could be used in many answers.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and check out our other videos. You can find loads of useful links in the description below. Let's get started.